just got done putting all this stuff in. And so he didn't disclose a lot of stuff, which was very concerning of me as well as my buyer. So we kind of just bailed on it and said, forget it.
Mm. It almost sounds like a business transaction, not a house transaction.
Yeah, it really, that's the whole thing is it's a lot of these homes in that price range my buyer's looking at are for investors, not necessarily a homeowner or a first time buyer that, doesn't really have the resources to do what he needs to do to make it his.
Nice. Nice. Can you guys do the switchback thing, Travis? I just want to see it one more time. Oh my God, that's sexy.
He's trying to do it where it's we're gonna
I'm
get
working on auto right now.
we're gonna get an auto, so it's whoever I think
They're
whoever's
getting
talking.
We got Ryan, JJ, and Jaywalk. I'm not sure.
James.
James, okay.
James, our new Dallas broker. There he is. Look at all those medals. He likes to show off.
How's it going?
What's up, James?
Okay,
Doing all
I'm-
right. About yourself?
I think it's set. How's that working?
I don't know. Oh.
This is why I stopped coming in. Yeah.
Then I come in, pick me up.
Oh, nice. Ryan, can you hear us too, man?
Hey guys, I'm here just trying to get caught up on some busy work.
Fair enough. Good to hear. Good to see you, man.
Good to see you guys.
Ryan, we got to connect this week, man, or next week, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for reaching out the other day.
Oh, of course, man. We want to make sure. I know you kind of came in on a little transition period with us changing over some of the system stuff, the hub. So
Yeah.
want to make
Yeah.
sure you're all set up. Did you end up getting in your contract course and everything?
Yeah, I think I should be good to go. So if I can help eliminate or show some bugs, it will all be better for it.
Oh, dude, yes, and we always appreciate that. So thank you
Sure.
very much for bringing a lot to our attention.
Yeah, absolutely.
As long as the bug hasn't to do anything with my face, I can't fix that. So
Corey doesn't care because he doesn't have to fix the bug.
Marcia, hello. How are you, Marcia? Oh. All right. Trav, shall we get going, man?
Yeah, let's rock and roll. It is 12:04. So yeah, if anyone rolls in, we should be good though. But yeah, take it, Corey.
Oh yeah, it's just good to see everybody. It's been Trav and I are traveling every other week, so it feels like, and so it's good to be back on and see everybody. And then we got, can we do the snap? Let's real quick go to your counterpart there, and is he gone?
Scotty's not here right now. He's
left again. Okay,
but he'll jump back on. He wants to talk he wants to definitely talk about some finances and whatnot. But yeah, he's somewhere.
But man, we've got a lot of things picking up. I know, Marcia, you had some activity this last week too. And James, you're getting after it. Nice to finally meet you and see your face. But I think we should do an inverted call today, meaning let's go into some business questions immediately and just talk some business. So first wanted to say, hey, look, any of these calls can be used for you guys to answer any questions, ask things that you're getting stuck on. What can we do? We usually dive into some actual transactions, hurdles that we're running into, and then try and work them out as a group together to be on a call and to help you guys. So does anybody have anything up before we kind of go into more of a teaching and things like that?
Hey, Travis. So I just got the Bahama Bucks listing today.
Cool.
And I found out that the land for that, not the land, sorry, the building for that, there is a title for it, but it's with corporate. So corporate owns it because it used to be a corporate run location. So I'm not sure how that.
Sell it though.
Huh?
They wanted to sell it though, right?
Yeah. So like I said, he's been paying them for it, mortgage payments, but not official mortgage payments. I don't know how legal that is, but either way.
Well, that's great. So it's with real estate then, essentially.
Yes. It's just I need to figure out more about the deal, like the details now that he signed on like the ground lease agreements and all that kind of stuff. But my question was, because he doesn't care about like hiding that he's trying to sell it, when that happens, when we have people that don't care about whether or not keep it secret or not, what are some like things that we can do like to take advantage of that, where that's different on the advertising side than when we have to kind of keep it hidden?
Well, obviously you can use the actual name, which is nice. So it's, it's not just like a franchise, the ice cream, what is it? It's shaved ice franchise. It's actually, we can actually use Muhammad Bucks, which, in anything like, it's the name is what's selling that, right? Because that's going to be, it's not just your mom and pop ice cream, hold on, Marsh keeps trying to get in. It's not, it's so I think that is already, obviously you can put that on BizBuySell, BizBroker Plus, you can mark that. But I think if they're totally cool with it, I think you can actually do some really cool marketing as far as you can do videos of showing it and things like that. Because if you're not trying to be confidential about what the franchise is, I mean, go for it. You can at least open it up to somebody that's going to say, hey, I want a reputable one, not, mom and pops down the streets, shaved ice. I think that might help you to be able to close the deal a little bit faster. But yeah, I mean, other than that, I mean, I think you do the same thing we've done with a bunch of listings, but I think you can actually talk on behalf of what Bahama Bucks is, opposed to like what we're doing is like, this place is an auto or a t-shirt shop that does this. You can say, Bahama Bucks is nationwide. They have X amount of franchises. This is how this works. And so I think when you're doing that, I think that's going to be better for marketing for sure.
Yeah, that's great. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah. So I think, you're selling the location, but you're also selling the whole franchise, right? Like this is the benefit of this, right? Opposed to buying a local, franchise. So, or local business, you're actually buying something that if you are if you have never owned, if you're like trying to get out of corporate America and you've never owned a business of some sort like that, franchising is the best because you actually get the blueprints. So, and you feel like you have help there, right? And you have a name. You're not trying to recreate the name.
Yeah.
So I think you got actually a lot of advantages that they're kind of cool about doing that. So that's great.
Sweet. Thank you.
One thing though, JJ, so it's really happens, and it's like Travis said, it's a huge feature to be able to just list the name, but make sure franchise doesn't feel differently as well. So make sure your brother-in-law or whoever it is, he just quickly runs it by them, because if you own Bahama, Buck franchise, you want them listed everywhere on BizBuySell, it doesn't give you a good sign. You know what I mean? So just double check on that.
Yeah, for sure. That's great. Thank you.
Sweet. Good question.
Hey,
What
just
else?
a real quick
Yeah.
add-on on there too is the bright side is they've done all the advertising for you as well, because you can go to their franchising site to pull the details that you got to share with other people outside the actual numbers for that store. All those brilliant reasons of why you should own a Bahama Bucks is all on their website.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. Good stuff, man. Good question. You got a lot going on, man. I know you're busy. By the way, there's a new t-shirt shop that just posted here in the Austin area. Did you see that on BizBuySell? Yeah. 350 grand. Something to look at. So nice. James, Marshall, Ryan, you guys got anything cooking? Dave? I know Dave, we saw you this morning on the call. But any other questions as far as like where you're at? Any help you need?
No, right now I'm just gonna follow up with those auto repair shops and landscape companies that I had sent some information out to, just to make sure they received it. And then see if I can get something scheduled with them. Yeah, not right.
Nice. Okay. James,
And I'm on
Yeah.
like day 5 and doing the training with other training. So I'll ask the question that's going to be great, which is if you heard of something that's in California where you have to be licensed, would you just call a broker there and try to get a co-op with them?
Trav?
Yeah, we have brokers in California. So
okay.
So what I would do is you can either you can reach out to us, or you can just go on HQ and just be like, hey, I need a California broker. They'll reach out to you. Actually, it's my mother-in-law is the main one we have. So she's been doing it for like 30 years. So
Good old Deb.
Good old Deb.
As you say, making my first mention to some close friends from corporate world, and one of the very first group of people I told, one of them immediately responded with, "My mom has a manufacturing business she wants to sell." So yeah, I expect I'll do a reach out this week, and not that that's going to set the tone for my first week. I'm going to have somebody pop up and say, "I got something for you."
I'm telling you, don't be
I'm going to use
surprised.
that for my 30-day challenge.
Yeah.
Nice. I like it. Well, something too, I know, just so you guys know, and we were talking about this morning with Dave, the team approach, California, James, where are you located at? Is it
I'm Dallas.
Dallas? That's right. You've got Riley, Dave, I know is looking to team up with some people as well, but that team pod approach is extremely important. And if you have a great relationship, you meet Deb out there in California, you want to team up more regularly, do it, because I'm telling you, it is a much more productive way of doing business brokering. It's when you walk in, and I'll give you an example. JJ, Ryan, Travis, and myself walked into this $5 million business. It's a different type of signal when it comes into it. And I can tell you that, some exciting stuff. We got the Dickies contract to sell their franchises. And when you have a team, an onboarder, someone who does buyer lead, someone who does P&L and processing, and you can turn it over to these guys to complete it, man, it's just a much better signal. So Travis and I harp on this all the time. Make teams. And on that, Trav, Dave was asking me this morning, and we could do this live. Are we at a position yet to put on our website of where we can have teams? We could broadcast. Are we there yet? I know you're building that out. So
Yeah, we are. I mean, I think it's if we want to, I mean, I'm just thinking of like on the, what do you mean as like far as pushing out to the public, or what do you mean?
kind of like Jaden, you and I are talking about like a social media, like where it says this is who my team is, and I'm looking to build a team. This is my specialty
Oh yeah.
in the team, and then they could, if people want to join, they can directly, contact Dave or contact James if he wants to start a team in Dallas, for example.
It's not difficult to do. I think we did on the board the other day. I think we have to have breakdown of actually, because when we're building something, it's like, yeah, here's your team, but like, tell me
Mhm.
about it. Like, tell me about what are you providing, opposed to, so I think we have to do the logistics of it. I mean, it's not hard to do. It's hard to do. I think the thing I don't think this thing that's going to sell people is going to just be the teams. I think it's going to be the opportunity. And then the goal of us when they come in is everyone should get on a team, because they're going to be successful way faster. They're not going to be on an island. They're going to be able to flourish. They're going to be able to have people to bounce ideas off. And also, and as we grow, they're not going to be running to Corey, which is going to only have, me and Corey only have so much time to be able to help people, so the team aspect is always going to be the better. So I mean, I think we can do that. I would say let's get like 5 teams, and then like after we do that, opposed to just we have 2 right now, really, like let's get 5 teams, and then let's like really put a push on it. But just to have 1 or 2, I think it'd just be a hierarchy of things that we need, because we have a lot of it. Because I think when I talked to the Minnesota team, we just have so much stuff that we're working on that I'm just putting priority over that stuff right now, which is the valuations, the sim builder, getting everybody's listings on the legacy platform. So it's like a smooth, like, so you guys can close more deals, get more buyers and all that. So I think we can do that. Let's have a goal of, I want 5 teams before we do that. Can we do that?
Perfect. 5 teams. Let's see. How many we
got
got?
Minnesota. I would
Vlad,
say
you want to start a team?
we got Minnesota. I'd say we got a Minnesota team, but the thing is, are they established? We have a Texas team, but I think the first step is let me send you guys out a document for you guys to fill out of what your team actually is involved. And then that's going to make it, whether it's, your logo, everything like that. So we have all that stuff to generate to do that. So we can figure out something that we can at least get the ball rolling on it. But get those teams structured is going to be the biggest thing.
Yeah, I can tell you that we have, Riley and Sam teamed up. You have Sherry, up there who has her team. Deb has, her team. We have our team here as the piloting. And then I think, James looking at with Riley and Sam up there in Dallas. I mean, those guys alone got, 4 listings, I think, in the last 2 weeks.
I know Riley. Who's the other?
Sam.
Is it Dallas? Okay.
Yeah.
'Cause I reached out to Riley, both in HQ and on LinkedIn. So we'll connect. We've started to connect, but we haven't connected yet. So yeah, absolutely.
Great, for sure. Yeah, so I think that we just have to let's establish what a team looks like first.
Yeah,
And
for sure. I
what a
agree.
team has, we get it what it looks like, and then we can really start moving the ball down the court of the parameters of what a team is, what it consists of, and then what the benefit is with each team, because it'll be different, right? It'll be different. And then what positions need to be filled as far as in those positions, because I know the way that you guys are doing it is and so I think we can yeah, let me put something together and I can get some documents out of that, and then we'll just use your team as the guinea pigs on that, and you guys fill it all out, and then we figure out how we can do out the rest, and then just to get those teams established first, because they're not really established, they're kind of in the air, like they're teams, but let's make some establishing rules and guidelines to it. So that's
For
what
sure. Sure, Trav. More hurdles. All right, cool. Well, nice. Marsha, how are you doing? Are you able to hear us now?
Yeah, I can hear you. I am part owner in like a arts and crafts studio, and I work there on Fridays, and the internet here sucks so bad. So if I turn on the video, I get all glitchy and everything. So, and it's
Nice.
raining today, so that always helps too.
Oh, nice, fun, nice.
But I've been going through the training, getting, watching the videos and getting through that, and started to do some research. Like I've got a few alerts set up here and there, watching Facebook Marketplace and seeing some interesting things pop up in our area. Here in West Virginia, though, I've noticed a lot of them are like little small businesses. Like people will be selling a food truck for maybe like $5,000 or something. So it's been kind of trash, is what it looks like. So just trying to weed out and find some things. I saw a like an ice cream custard type business that went up for sale. It's probably about 100 miles out from me, which isn't unreasonable. So I kind of did the message to that gentleman and asked, are you getting a lot of hits? Are you getting a lot of interest? And I haven't heard anything back yet. So still trying to see if I get a little nibble on that.
Yep, I understand. You're searching on Biz by Sell?
I'm sorry.
Are you searching on Biz by Sell?
I've looked there too. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, as I say, because Biz by Sell is where you're going to get the most to start with, right? Before you
Right.
start your network.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'll have to go in there and spend some time and see in your area and kind of look. Maybe we could take a call, you and I, and do some shopping together.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Okay. Well, yeah, I think too, we have it set up to where you guys can book times with Travis and I. If you have marketing questions with Travis or more systematic type of things, and for me, more, the commercial side of things with getting these listings and pushing them through. So don't hesitate to put something on the schedule if you need an individual call, for sure. Now, as far as this week, I have personally had a lot of calls on how do I really manage the buyers and get more people to get excited about my listings. So if it's okay with you guys, I kind of want to hit this spot a little bit this week because I am personally, and I full transparency, I'm looking at selling one of the Dickies here in Austin, and we've got a few of them actually for sale, but they're in different parts of the United States. But this one specifically is mine, and going through the process, it's refreshed my memory on working with buyers. And it all starts to begin with the listing. And JJ and I and Ryan and Dave were talking about this morning. That subheader or that header and the subheader that is on Biz by Sell will make or break it. And the famous words for JJ, clickbait. We need clickbait to get people excited to understand this. So, we are selling personally the restaurant, obviously, and then we're selling a mechanic shop. A mechanic shop is a service-based business. And a service-based business is the hot theme of today in the world. So you have to put service. You have to put profit, the actual number that they profit, because I can promise you most new business owners, 5 out of 10 don't know what cash flow means. They have no idea. So you need to say your take home is X amount of dollars after all expenses. Literally put it to a T. And then in addition to that, you need to give some sort of like established history, 15 years in business, or as far as the build out costs, $1 million to build this business. I can tell you from mine, with Dickies, for example, it was walk into immediate cash flow, store is completely active, not an asset sale, because most restaurants will end up being an asset sale if they are selling, right? So even for Bahama Bucks, JJ, it's, active business, 8 employees with the headline, years of experience, franchise ready to go, something like that, to where people are like, okay, makes clear sense. Now, once that comes in there, you are going to get a request that says, hey, please call me about this business. And our first initial reaction is, well, we can't talk about this business unless they sign an NDA, right? So Travis, I'd use this example this morning. I'm gonna jump into the example Travis gave me the other day as far as how to explain it from a marketing standpoint. Now, imagine going to a roller coaster in a theme park, and you have to explain how this roller coaster ride is. If you explain it on a piece of paper and you say it's got 4 turns and it goes 42 miles per hour, it's not sexy. But if you call somebody and you say, man, this G-force, this fast pace, this thing is just whipping you around the park, like it's a lot better experience. And so you have got to get good as someone who represents the seller to get them excited. And the best example would be you can't tell details, you can't tell name unless it's been okay to ahead of time, but you got to say things like this business is primed to sell. This business will not last long. Let me tell you why. It's been in business for 15 years. It's got a loyal customer base. Are you looking to come in to make profit right now? Are you wanting to more create something on your own? Are you looking to hire employees and bring in your own, or do you want to have kind of a plug and play solution? Because if it is a plug and play solution, this place is for you. But before I give you any more information, we got to get this quick NDA signed. So literally why I'm on the phone with you right now, I'm going to throw this to you. All it simply says is that, we're going to keep things quiet and keep it in discretion to just us. And if you literally sign it here on the phone with me today, I will talk to you right now about the full details of the business, if you're still excited about it. You will find that you will go from having a 30% success rate of getting people filled out to more of a 60, 70% success rate on getting it there. And I can tell you a prime example with the Dickies restaurant. There's a buyer that was never owned a restaurant before. And they didn't fill out the NDA, they didn't turn it in. So I had some downtime. I decided to call some of the people that didn't return the emails and the NDA. And this person was like, I didn't get the email. And I'm like, so they made me think of this morning, JJ, when we were talking to you. I'm like, I wonder if they're not getting information email. So I started to individually email them and not replying through Biz by Sell. What did you say? Spot here's got something here. There's some system marketing. It's copywriting. Usually yeah, okay. So then I just go, okay, crap. I wonder how many didn't see it. The second one was, I was really interested in it, but I don't know what an NDA is. And you're also like, oh my God, you're buying a business, you know what an NDA is. But then you have to take a step back and go, at one point, I didn't know what an NDA was either. And then finally, there's the other third, which is, I haven't gotten around to it, but I'm actually really interested because I own other businesses, or I'm too busy with my time. So either way, all 3 of those people should have had calls and had the reasoning to be able to answer questions, but they just didn't. The NDA got in the way. So I'm going to pause for a second. And do you guys understand kind of what I'm saying with like the first initial step? The NDA is actually a problem, not a solution, is the first step. Makes sense? Travis, you have any thoughts on that too? I think you're muted, dude. No, you're muted, Trav.
Oh, there he is.
It's a big
There he is.
screen. We got a big
Okay.
screen here, and it's like a journey to get to the unmute
Big
button.
screen, really.
There Scotty is. There it is.
All right.
It's a very big screen. So that's what we're trying to build here on the legacy platform. So we've been actually working on this, me and Vlad, for the last like week and a half. And the one thing that we have in there as far as on the workflow And legacy platform, what we're doing, essentially the NDA and the SIM process has always been the biggest issue since we've started any of this, is like, how do we streamline that? The very first thing I have in there is what we call manual call, which will ping you to say, call this person. Now, the NDA is going to get sent out automatically because we want the process to continue. But the very first thing that you guys should do is be calling. It shouldn't be like, oh, we'll just see what they say, right? Are we going to be proactive or are we going to be reactive to this? We're going to be proactive. We're going to be like, hey, let's just, wait and see what happens. No, like, we're not going to be passive. We're going to be aggressive with this because we want to sell it. That's what our job is. And so the very first step in that is to call. So Ryan, so Ryan will be the user on your guys' team, right? Because he's getting the buyer leads. Is that right, Ryan?
You're talking about Ryan for the GRC team? Yeah, that's me.
So
I
what
didn't know if you're referring to the other Ryan that's on the call.
No. When that lead comes in, what's directly going to happen, the very first thing is it's going to ping Ryan to say, call this lead. And because that is the most important time. Why? Because when that lead comes into the system, what did they just do? They're in front of their computer, they're on their phone, they're right there, right? So if you try to do it 15 minutes later, like, I don't know, like what in 15 minutes, who knows what they'll be doing, right? So speed to lead is always, so the same thing with the NDA, like take that call, do exactly what Corey's talking about, because that is what we're trying to do is get more engagements. And it's not even about your listing also, it's about business too. So what if this isn't the business for them? You want to be able to spot that and then say, I can find that business for you, whatever it is, right? Add to your buyer lead. So buyers are great because usually they're the one that has the capital, right? Listings, we're trying to sell them. But if someone's like, I want this, like, you can go out and find it for them. So calling them, I think, is going to be the thing that's fallen through the cracks, which what we're trying to solve right now. So this is a very important topic.
Yeah, well said. Any questions on that? And Vlad put in the chat the FAB formula, as you're getting the listings to keep in perspective too. But any questions on this part at all before I go into the next one? No. Okay.
No, we're good.
Remember, match the personality, right? If you're talking high, they'll talk high, or vice versa. They're talking low, you talk low. Match the personality when it comes to the interaction. Now, once we got past that and we talked to them initial and we start talking about the business, don't stray away from the way you advertised. So you start with the headline again. So my example would be like, hey, so sounds like you're interested in running a barbecue restaurant, huh? Yeah, I've been thinking about it. Like immediately, like again, I started with the title, barbecue restaurant for sale. I said, yeah, this thing is great. It profits roughly 30 to 40K a year, absentee. Is that something you're looking for? Something in absentee, or are you looking to be hands-on? Follow the listing the way it goes. I'm looking to be a owner on. I'm moving from California to here to run this and to be my job. Oh, that's fantastic. Because the other benefit is we have a GM that's going to be leaving eventually, and that will increase it to a $65,000 salary on top of that 30K a year. So now you're looking at $90,000 in take home if you buy this business. Oh, that's awesome. They start going. And then as you go, think of it as a triangle, right? You're going to start here with your initial conversation. They ask a question, and the further you get down, the wider the triangle gets and the more information you discuss. But they could be sold at the top. And then you just need to get to the next step, which would be getting an NDA signed and then getting a purchase agreement in. So you find yourself even here, you're like, so here's the details. There are 6 employees. Their name is Greg. Their name is Dee. They have this type of smoker. We like the smoker meat, 185 for 12 hours. Like, I don't care. I'm already sold to the fact that you said 90K and I can have this job and buy this now. So, and remember that as you're talking to these buyers, draw yourself a triangle if you want to. And the idea is to get sold before the least amount of questions you actually have to say and ask. So does that make sense to you guys so far? And any questions there?
Yeah, Corey, when you're having these conversations, are there like key like markers and things that people say that kind of cue you in onto kind of where they're at, whether they need to keep moving down or whether like they're already sold and they want to move on to the next step in the process?
Yeah, it's a great question. You'll have buying cues. Some of them are like, can you send me more information on these sales numbers? Like, okay, they're pretty interested. They want to research more time. Or they'll say, hey, if you were in my shoes and you're a first time restaurant owner, what would you do? Right? Type of thing in this situation. That's another cue. Think of it kind of like you're selling a house, right? If they're in there putting their furniture in their house and they make any comment about that, then you've definitely got them on the goal line. And from a perspective of business, it could be like, yeah, I could probably work that. My wife could do accounting and we could save money here, buying cue, type of thing. So just remember, if they're putting the furniture in the house, let them put the furniture in the house. They're like, I really would like to. One of the people said, I'm really looking to buy this, but I want 2 or 3 restaurants. What are your thoughts on that? Well, there's 2 huge smokers in this restaurant. One of them could just run this one, another one could run another one, and you can move it over. And okay, now they're seeing their story through. That's another buying perspective as well. So then you go and you simply say, and I found mistake number 2 was sending the NDA, was the first mistake. Sending the second one, and I mean, by the way, you need to send the NDA, but don't make that just your first wall to go over. But the second one was I should have not only sent the SIM, but I also should have sent the purchase agreement at the same time because I found that as buyers, they want to hear and understand the process of what it looks like to buy as well as the sim. Because as soon as they see the information, they're like, oh, well, okay, what's it like to buy it now? What do I do next? Well, I'm going to send you the marketing information about this business, but I'm also going to send you what it looks like to put an offer in. And then you can look it over and I can answer any questions off that. I found it saves a separate step usually running these businesses, just a not unnecessary step needed. So you send the purchase agreement, you send the SIM, and for those that are new that don't know what a SIM is, it's simply a marketing newsletter about the business. But again, as Travis mentioned, tell the roller coaster story. Don't just show it on a piece of paper. So all that's good. And you start getting a purchase agreement in, and here are the questions that they're going to ask just to prepare you. They're going to ask, what does training look like? What does the due diligence period look like? Do I have a week? Blah, 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 blah. Your goal as a broker is to say, hey, look, I want due diligence to be as clean as possible. I don't really want you researching anything due diligence. I want you to figure out how to put the furniture in the house. That's what due diligence is really for. What's most important is that you give them the sales numbers, the OPEXs, the expenses, and everything. After they sign the NDA, they've read the SIM, they're showing interest. So that way, when the offer does come in, we're moving forward. There's going to be no surprises. And so this buyer is coming from California for the restaurant. They need to fly in. So due diligence should be done before they're investing $1,000 into coming. Excuse me, just a second. Get a drink of water. So it's important on that step too. So I'll stop there. Any questions on that? Also, before I die, station. No, okay. So
I do have a question, Corey, but
yeah.
It sort of pertains to after steps 1 and 2. Like, how long do you persist on reaching out to a prospective buyer? So let's say NDA is completed, you sent docs, and then there's quiet. There's nothing. You follow up with call, text, phone, like all that, and nothing back. I'm at this point, do I bug them until what I call psycho dialing them? I mean, 10, 15, 20 touches.
You should call them as soon as the listing comes in. Pick up your cell phone and call them before even the NDA, and you will find your success rate goes up significantly once that happens. And then you will, if they ghost you, it's usually an automation because you got to be careful on these listings. There are going to be a lot of auto AI bots that are replying to you. I mean, I personally, with this restaurant alone, have had probably 4 or 5 fake dials from different companies just trying to get the lead and things like that. So,
Gotcha.
but yeah, in that point. So good question. But yeah, I would say honestly, as soon as you get the listing, call them. As soon as they sign the NDA, call them.
Yeah, but what happens? Like, you go through that, and then they ghost you after all that. After you send all the financials, they just ghost you. No discussion, no questions. It's just, all right. I'm taking that as, hey, I'm not interested, but there's no, there's no like concrete evidence that, hey, I'm not interested, other than just ghosting.
Yeah. Did you have a conversation before you were going to send them the financial information?
Yeah. So just recently on the 2-for-1 business type
Yeah.
thing, financial planners involved. We got NDA signed, we got documents out. There was like one question, and then that was it. And then no response via email, text, phone, nothing.
Yeah. And is it to the financial planner or to the buyer?
So he's a financial planner. So he would be the interested party in buying the business.
Expectations. You say, and something that it's a great question. You say to the buyer, hey, I'm going to send you the detailed information. Let's set up a call next Monday, right now. What time works for you? That says we're going to talk again.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether you're interested or not, because I'd love to get your feedback. It's 20 minutes, and different things, and also walk you through it. Or before you even send them the financials, you say, let's set up a time to go through this due diligence together versus me just sending you 5 different forms.
Gotcha.
And we walk you through it. Yeah. Now, it's a good point. You don't want to, because even in the barbecue restaurant, you can send them sales for the last 3 years, expenses for the last 3 years. You could send them the franchise agreements. You could send them everything, and it's overwhelming. So I just personally, on the first level, would recommend you send just a P&L for the last 3 months. Like that's it. And then if they want more information, you can go there and tier it back.
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah, good stuff. Okay, so the big problem number 3, and then we're going to turn it over to Scotty. The big number 3 is don't underestimate the power of the landlord. And I know we say this over and over, but I'm serious. The landlords and spouses are your number 1 killers, deal killers, right? We've experienced firsthand the power of a wife or husband saying no. You can also experience the power of a landlord. So I get the deal. I walk into the landlord. It's fine now. But he basically told me to kick rocks. You're not going to sell this business. I don't care what you do. My shopping mall is the greatest shopping mall on planet Earth. And, you're sticking in this thing. And, after calming them down, you realize that, going into this from a buyer's perspective, and as you guys represent future buyers as you find businesses, when they buy this, for example, this Bahama Bucks or a new coffee shop that I'm sure it's got, you need to know and have a conversation with the landlord that says, the goal is to sell this. Like every business goal is to exit, unless you want to run it for 50 years and hand it to your kids. But even then, I think the goal is always to exit. Are you going to allow me to exit if I sell this business? Yes or no? So remember from a buyer's perspective how important it is to represent them as well, even now that you run into it from a seller side of things too, right? I know, Ryan, you ran into landlord issues on the car wash, right? They're constant pain in the butts. So it's all about expectations up front, and I would highly encourage your new buyer when they are discussing that landlord lease agreement, you say, am I going to be allowed to sell this in 3 years if I flip it and double the income and make money and go buy more or whatever I want to do? Because you'll find yourself in a situation that I was in, even personally, where they say, no, you can't do that. They've come to their senses, though. Let's put it that way. On the other side, and they realize that they're not that much in control. But either way, it's an avoidable if you can't make it that way. So, does that make sense to you guys too? So, if you're going to sell a business and list it, I know James and Marsha, as you're getting these new listings, make sure that the owners have approval from the landlord. Otherwise, you've spent a lot of times and the deals are going to be killed left and right. So you not only approval, but approval and what conditions are the approvals.
Is there
because-
like
yeah.
contracts that you would have written up, or does it have to be some simple, or is verbal, like, should that be sufficient?
An email that says, for example, we're dealing with one with the sign on the auto. Yes, I am approving this, but the sign is going to have, what do they call that? Where they have the sewer lines. Come on, you guys are smarter than me. Where like you can't touch that part of the land because it's owned by the city. An easement. That's what it is. Yes, this sign has an easement on it. I'm okay with it, but this sign has nothing to do with the business sale. Or you'll simply say, yes, I'm approving this, but if I approve it, I want 25% of the sale price. Or I want 6 months up front. And if you think that's what they, by the way, countered on me at, they want 25%. And it's like, no. I mean, yeah. So anyway. All right. So that's the we have a document. We're gonna put the stuff that Vlad put on there. But I'm also going to, I have a document that shows exactly what you need to do as far as the order goes to, I guess, massage these buyers as you go through the process. And then eventually we'll be putting it on a training as well. So,
Hey, Corey, I got a quick question for you.
yes, sir.
First of all, in these situations, why do you think a landlord would want to kind of strong arm that? Like, can we talk about situationally, like why would that happen, and how do we try to work through it?
Yeah, it's a great question. Nobody as a landlord wants turnover in their malls. And I don't mean turnover from the standpoint of people leasing. I mean brand turnover. So, Dickies, right, has been on that thing for 15 years, but they've made the landlord's life hell because nothing else goes in there besides a Dickies. And if you we're looking at that Italian shop as well, right? That wants to move into these new shopping malls that we're selling this Italian business. They want to move, and the landlord told them, no, we're not even entertaining your small mom and pop shops. So the problem is they want to keep these national franchise brands in their malls, and regardless of what you do, they need that sign on the wall. So that's one. I think the second one is every time somebody flips a new one, it's a new lease, new paperwork, new trail. And they told me, and it's a good point. It costs $13,000 to $18,000 to turn over a landlord or to turn over a new lease between lawyer fees, and flipping them, 15,000. So it's kind of a crazy number to think about, from a turnover
know that.
standpoint.
I don't know that
So
either. Well, and that's so the part two of that is like when you're talking about conditions, if you can pre-negotiate conditions up front, do you think it's better to have that conversation like before the conversation starts that I want to sell the business? So like if I'm a broker and I'm talking to somebody about listing a business, you think strategically it's good for the owner of that business to go to their landlord and just say, hey, I'm curious what it would look like if I decided to sell my business, and pre-negotiate that? What are your thoughts on just kind of the strategic, approach to it?
yeah, it's tricky because if you're a small mom and pop and you go to them and say, hey, I want to flip this business because I've made money. And there's, by the way, a guy that I know that does the Papa Murphy's. He literally walks in, flips them, sells them. And he gives clear expectations to the landlord that I'm here to make this a better store, but then I'm going to sell it and come out. However, if you're a small mom and pop, they could have somebody in their pipeline. They're waiting to kick you out anyway. And now you have no business to sell because they're like, all right, great. Well, then I'm going to go ahead and allow this person in and you're out. So man, it is a fine comb. I personally like surprising them unless it's at the beginning of the contract where there's nothing I can do. Because man, they get pissed off and then they wait 3 days and then they call you and they're like, all right, let's the new buyer's info, get it over to me and we'll approve it type of thing.
And I like that too. That's why I was kind of bringing it up, because I think like from the approach of, if I'm brokering a business, so if I'm JJ and I'm approaching this, and I'm trying to broker this business, it would almost be better to have that element of surprise. So you've already worked with the landlord, you've already worked with your business owner, you kind of got everything in place, and then you can go to the landlord and say, hey, this is happening.
Yeah.
How do we figure out, what your terms are going to look like? Because then it's kind of like, well, what are they going to do?
Yeah, I have no other choice, but it's basically we ended up settling with I will not get my deposit back. That was my penalty, and this person has to put down 3 months. Who happily did it. It's like no big deal, whatever, it's fine. But it's the element of surprise, and you have to be able to take the uppercut to the face, because don't ever forget your name on a piece of paper that has a dollar amount tied to it. So it just don't forget that part of it. So that we've got 15 minutes left, Scott. Hopefully I saved you enough time, my friend. I know you've got some stuff. I think you're working on a buyer for us on qualifying somebody for a moving company, right, JJ, or something like that? Or
We're working on a moving company. Travis and I are working on one of his buyers. What do you want to talk about? What's most interesting?
any words of advice from the man with the best chairs in the world?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, the cool. Thank you. I appreciate it. Man with the best chairs in the world. You too can be that man.
You too.
With a click on it. I will rectify your situation here shortly.
Thank you.
So I want to talk about actually the one that I'm working with Travis on right now. Is that okay? Am I allowed to talk about that?
Yes.
Okay.
I just wanted to switch.
Auto switching works, guys. So we are doing a school here in Central Texas where this woman is purchasing a facility that's not currently used as a school, right?
So yeah, I mean, it's an art. It's
an
actually
art
it's
school.
an art. No, yeah, it's like an after school art
Okay.
center.
So it's not, but it's not set up
So
as a daycare.
Yeah,
So
so
it's going to need renovated.
yeah.
And
Mhm.
then she's going to be, she already owns a successful nonprofit school in another state. She lives here now. She's been running that remotely, so she looks really good. She's attractive to underwriting, and now she wants to deploy a brand new school in this facility. So when I first told Travis, it's like, that's really challenging. That's why I want to bring it up, because some of this stuff can be really, really challenging. So what we did on the front end was we had her fill out our package. She gave us everything we needed. We sent that into an underwriter. We've got a great underwriting team that really likes her. And then they asked just a few questions to kind of figure it out. So essentially, what we are going to be able to do is using SBA, a 10% down payment on a total package of purchasing property, creating money for renovations, and creating money to start up the new school. There are questions, there are underwriting things that, we're working it through. But I share that to say, if we address all of those potential concerns on the front end, we have a much cleaner process on the back end. So I know a lot of times you guys are talking to potential buyers on your listings, and I've had a lot of conversations with those potential buyers where they're a little bit reluctant to follow the process of, if you do this, we can get you this. And so that's a success story in my opinion of, we walk this lady through, okay, I know what you want to do. Here's what we need from you. Let's figure out how to do it. And the conversation actually started that she was going to acquire a business. We didn't have the target business yet, but she was going to acquire an existing preschool business.
But I actually have a business for her.
Now you have one.
I have
Of course you
one,
do.
but I'm like, no.
Yeah, that's
I'm
my fault.
not gonna. No, I'm not. I know. My point is, no, I have a seller
Okay.
who wants to sell. We don't know. She hasn't given me any documents, but she's like, yeah, I do want to sell because I reached out to her. We're going with the one that you're working with. But in all reality, because that buyer was like, I'm interested, and I started reaching out to a bunch of daycares, I have a potential seller here soon.
So
Also,
that makes
so
sense.
it's one of those things where it's actually.
So
work
I
out
think
twofold.
the message of this and what I wanted to just open up for conversation is you can have more peace through the process with more preparation. And that's a big deal, for folks when there's a lot of unknowns. The other side of it is, we've talked about a few of these other businesses that you guys have listed. JJ, we talked a lot about your moving company, for example, and we had a great conversation about what's the succession plan, what makes this business bankable and financeable as it moves into the hands of another buyer, so scenario there, you've got a moving company, owner operator, and not necessarily a second level of management under the owner operator. It's not the same as like a Dickies. Corey's not in his Dickies running his Dickies every day. So he's got management staff that when that business sells, the management staff, they want to stay on. They want to continue to run the business. It's a little easier to have an absentee operator in a business. I'm sorry, an absentee owner purchase a business where the current owner is already absentee. So a lot of things to look at when we're talking about the listings is how does the business currently function and how will it function after the fact? So there's some common sense underwriting stuff there, guys. And I understand that lending is really ambiguous. It is very Wild West when it comes to commercial and business financing. There's kind of like some guardrails, but then inside the guardrails, underwriters have to review and make decisions. So what we're doing is we're putting a case together, kind of like an attorney, and we're presenting that to the underwriter and saying, here's all the good stuff. Look at all the good stuff. Okay, here's some of the risk factors. You got to assess the risk, figure out, what can be done to assess the risk, but we call them compensating factors in the money world. So anything that's a compensating factor against risk is really good. A big compensating factor is when you sell a business that requires people to operate it, those people are going to stick around. A friend of mine just sold his business for millions of dollars. I was surprised actually what he sold it for. And part of the deal was he had to stick around for 5 years, and he signed a contract. He got a big check, but he's sticking around for 5 years as a like a C-suite person. And he can't violate that contract or else he owes a lot of money back. So, there's definitely with smaller businesses, a lot of times they're not structured in this way. A lot of times you're going to be walking people through a process of how do you make your business financeable, because the business owner may not have been thinking about that, and that's okay. You guys are sometimes playing a short game, sometimes playing a long game, right?
Yeah.
So from a
100%.
financing perspective, those are the questions we really need to answer. Is if this business, let's call it a t-shirt shop, you just mentioned a t-shirt shop, if that business is fully autonomous from its operator already, and it has been for at least 2 years, man, that's so much easier to finance. Versus if it's owner operator, the owner's in the store every single day, you know, they're hustling the counter. It's not a problem. It's just we have to solve the answer to that question. So then therefore, is our buyer somebody who qualifies to do that? Like, is that going to be their full-time job? Do they have the qualifications to walk in and run that business? Can we prove that they have those qualifications, or are they going to hire a manager in? And as I was talking with JJ about the moving company, it's a lot easier if they hire in a manager that is already on staff, already planning to stay there before we submit that business for financing. Makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, I think that, and also, like, the cool thing about when you have a buyer is like it opens up the realm of possibilities for so much more money.
Yeah.
And also, just like I said, I'm getting possibly another listing out of it.
Yes.
But also it's not, they may have opportunities in, this is why, you know, I'm not saying be a real estate agent, but no, having a real estate agent in our network to find commercial listings too, that are, you know, this is a business technically. However, we're not going to buy it as a business. We're buying it as property, as real estate, that she's going to start a business. But her overall goal is she wants to do another one. She wants to do multiple ones of these. And so now it's like, cool. Do you want me to continue to find? What if I found a business today? And she's already said that if you find another one, I'll buy another one. Because once this one gets profitable, I'll go buy another one if it's already ready. Because then we're going to reuse that name. And so there's just so much possibility out there.
And that's where you guys can actually create franchise value, like with what Travis is talking about right now. With that first example that I gave, once she gets this up and running, then 2 years down the road, she can actually franchise it. You can create franchise value, and he can broker it.
What so with that being said too, does that make the process of, like, I don't know, getting a loan easier when you have a franchise?
So I got a guy up in Waco. He started, I helped him buy his house a few years ago. And then him and his wife had a dream. They're dreamers, right? They had all these business dreams. And I remember talking to him in like 2019 about all these ideas he had and just flushing them through. And, hey man, go after one. Just please focus on one. Go after it, and then we'll see how it goes. He launches a business called Roni's Mac Bar. They did incredibly well. So then they put a second location in Harker Heights, or Waco, Harker Heights. Then they put in a third location. Then they said, you know what, we figured this thing out, let's franchise it. So they met with a company that does franchising, and now they have contracts on 22 locations. To answer your question, it makes it a lot easier for financing now because we have a playbook, we have a process. And so we're running the financing on those folks who are looking to deploy the new locations. You have all kinds of people interested in franchising. You have people who just want to write the check and have the business operate. You have people who want to get their hands dirty, put more sweat equity into it. So you finance them in different ways. If we're talking about a guy that's worth a few $1,000,000 and he just wants to write a check to build an absentee business, it's a lot different than an SBA loan where you're actually going to have somebody getting their hands dirty and running the business. So does that answer the question? I think the franchise value is huge.
Can we, I'd love to, what's the guy's name? We should get him on here sometime, talk about franchising. I think it would be great.
Frank. His name's Frank.
We should get him on. It would be great. Corey, you think that'd be a good thing? Get somebody who owns a franchise and tell all about the ins and outs of that. And you guys can drill them with questions too. And because you're going to be running into a lot of these franchises.
Yes. And you have a lot of businesses that are in that phase where they want to turn into a franchise and they don't even think about it. Or they think about it and they don't know how it's possible.
And if you just think about this, if you have somebody like that, and you will be talking to so many business owners that potentially want to start a franchise and they don't know how, what does that mean if you help them figure that part out? They're going to be using you.
Very, very valuable.
Yeah, you're going to be using you on every franchise, to be able to
think of it like this. You guys are hope dealers.
Ooh.
You're hope dealers. You're out there.
I'm making a shirt saying hope dealer.
Dude, we should do it. Like I'm that. I think about when I think about what do I do all day? Like I deal in hope. I deal in helping people take dreams and actually flesh them out into reality. And what does it take to bridge the gap? It's hope. Like
Yeah.
I know I can. Here's the next steps, right? So that's what you're doing. A lot of times you're cultivating relationships
love
and
it.
you're turning it into a process of hope. And that also brings a positivity to it. And it's hard when the deals don't work, right? It's like extra hard and frustrating. Am I not showing up when I talk? My auto cut's not working. That's
You're a
weird.
hope killer at that point.
Hope killer.
I was breathing too hard.
But yeah, man, like, you know, that's to me that's the big win in these conversations is helping these business owners see past themselves and see bigger and think bigger. So yeah.
I got a question about SBA loans, if that's okay.
Yeah, please.
So, you know, our team has this 2-for-1, 2 businesses and 1 deal with also 2 different real estate properties involved. And we were talking today just about like engaging with buyers that are going to need to get a loan to purchase it because it's, you know, millions of dollars. Will there be different loans that are given out for that process, or is it one loan for multiple? You get what I'm saying? There's multiple transactions, but one loan with SBA, or how does that work?
It's both and. It really depends. If there is a let me ask it this way. Is it one group that's acquiring both?
Yeah, it would be one. Yeah, it would be like one LLC buying up 4 LLCs because there's like an LLC that owns the real estate for one business. There's an LLC that owns the business, and then double that up for the other business, right? It's very interesting how they've done it.
You could do a blanket acquisition loan in that case. Now in that case, they probably wouldn't end up going specifically SBA. We could look at SBA, but you're probably just going to use a commercial acquisition loan. But yes, the answer is it can be done as one, or it can be done as multiples. If it was going to be split up into multiples, then you would probably be looking at the SBA solution.
Yeah, because I think the thing that we're thinking about, especially this is important for Ryan, as he's our guy that primarily deals with buyers, is like how much more beneficial is it if there's just one loan because there's real estate involved, likeliness of it being over a longer period of time, meaning your monthly payment to pay back that loan is going to be lower, so that your investment seems much more palatable. You know what I mean? That's kind of what I'm thinking. I didn't know if that's possible though.
It is, yeah. And anything that could be securitized to real estate opens up other opportunities. So what type of business is it?
It's 2 different. One's an auto shop, muffler auto shop type place, and then another is like a car dealership.
Okay. So, and there's similar types of business.
Yeah, and they feed one another. Like the muffler shop will send them cars that are like, hey, my car's not worth fixing. Okay, well, hey, this place will buy it from you, and then they go and resell it after they fix it, and you know, vice versa.
Okay. So if there's business owned with both locations, then you could look at doing one singular commercial real estate loan that also funds the purchase of the business. That is doable.
What are the requirements for that? Just out of the top of your head. I mean, is there any major different requirement than the SBA, or is it just?
Not really. No, I mean, we look at the same type of stuff for every single loan of this nature. To like start that loan, it's the same package. Personal financial statement from any guarantors, which is anybody that owns 25% or more of the acquiring LLC. And you guys, I think most of you have seen that email that we send out. If you want, I can send that out to everybody. If you need a copy of everything with the attachments,
Yeah,
it's what we request. You want me to send that out?
Well, we can send it out, and we can just send me an email, and then we'll
Okay.
we'll also put it. We can send it out, but we'll also put it on the archives.
How about I'll send it to you, Travis,
Yeah.
and then you guys can disseminate it. But the list doesn't change. It's the same way every single time. The intake is the same every single time. So I'll send that out, and then if any of the guarantors also own any other businesses, we have to get the financials on their other businesses. So that's where we start. And then we send that into, I've got a few different underwriting teams that help with these type of things. We get feedback from at least 3 of our underwriting teams so that we see, are they all thinking the same? Is one thinking one way, one thinking another way? And then we kind of disseminate from there what's needed to move the ball forward. So yeah, it's a pretty standard list of docs, Ryan. And I'll get that to all of you guys. I know you have received that email in conjunction with one of your folks before, but I'll get that out to all you guys.
Yeah, good stuff. Thanks, Scotty.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Trav.
I think that's it, man.
Yeah.
We have a meeting with another with a broker that's going to come on who's been doing it for about I don't know, 10, 15 years, but she works in, so she's going to be hopefully huge on our team, guys, for us, especially when we get some of these big deals too. So, but we will see y'all next week. And if you guys have questions, you can always go on the hub and you can, if you guys go on to the support, you should see if you wanted to do a support call, or I think it's called the support hotline. You can go there. Our calendars are on there, you guys. Feel free, go on there. Like, if it's available, click it. Seriously, we'd love to talk to you guys and make sure we're there for you. It's the most important thing about our business. We're being there for our brokers. That's how we're going to get to where we are, is being there for you guys. So, so overload Corey is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Overload.
Overload.
See you guys.
See you guys
All right.
later.
Cool. All
See
right,
ya.
guys. Bye.
Cool, man. I'm gonna go grab some lunch with my wifey.